Hello and welcome back to Always Off Brand. I am your co-host, Summer Jubileer, along with Scott Ashman.
Good morning, Summer.
I am so happy to be back. It's been a while. I'm like, I had to dust off the old mic.
Seriously, I've missed you. I mean, we don't have Haley Brucker in the news today. She's on a wonderful vacation as we record this. But yes. Summer, it's a new summer. For those watching on YouTube, Always Off Brand, we're almost to 90 subscribers. Woo, woo.
Yes.
Summer.
We're going to get 10 more. Everyone's going to tune in to be like, what did Summer do to her hair?
Oh my goodness. I called you the other day, just a little, check in, haven't talked to you.
Chitty chat.
I've been traveling. You were busy. You were traveling. And then you tell us about the reveal here.
Well, first, for those not listening, let me tell you my children's response. So I have had hair, super long hair for the last 10 years. And when I came home, first of all, my 12-year-old didn't notice at all. Did not notice. I kept chatting with him.
Typical man.
Such a boy. And finally, I'm like, Reese, do you not notice my haircut? And he looks at me, he goes, oh, you got a bowl cut. And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
What kind of punishment for that? I mean,
I know. I should think of one. And then the other child who notices everything, it took him all of 20 seconds. He's like, what did you do to your hair, Mom? And he's like, I just want to grab it and pull it down. And he's like, but you kind of look like Gunner. I was like, Gunner, your boy hockey teammate who's got long, beautiful flowing hair, I will say. And I was like, I look like Gunner. And he was like, yeah. Like, oh, thanks. And then when I was working out the other day, I came down and I had just like a top knot on top of my head. And a
little top knot situation.
My 12-year-old goes, Mom, you're not leaving the house like that, are you?
Oh my God, are you serious?
I was like, you don't even brush your hair. Like, I don't even want to hear from you. You don't brush your hair. And if you wouldn't even wash your hair if it wasn't for me. So I don't want any more comments from the peanut gallery over there. I was just like, what is going on? So they do feel bad because I walked out the other day. I don't know what I was doing, but Reese just goes, Mom, your hair looks great. I was like, Matt's been talking to them.
Yeah, he probably has. Matt Jubileer, the engineer. You're telling me this, and you tell me about the boys' reaction, and then this is, you and I have talked about questions that cannot be asked. If you're the dude, you can't ask the question.
Yes.
So I'm trying to lead up to, oh my God, is she going to tell me if she likes it?
Oh, yeah, I like it.
You said you liked it a lot.
Yeah, no, I do.
And then you FaceTime me, and I'm like, it's fantastic.
Thanks. Yeah, I do like it.
I thought it'd be easier to take care of, but you say no.
No, it's a lot more work.
Okay.
I'm surprised at how much work it is.
Really?
It's fine. It's fine. But anyways, how are you?
I'm great. I just had to I traveled for 2 weeks in a row, which is like right now at this stage of my life, my happy place.
You're like anywhere but home.
Seriously. I am dying as it's snowing right here. We don't talk about weather, but I'm dying to get out of here. Dying.
Yeah.
So E-Tail was incredible.
What was your most favorite topic or insight?
I mean, this will be out by the time so I got a couple fanboy situations. You know how it is there. People are walking by, and if I know them, I got Philip Jackson to come in and record with us. With Sarah Levinger. I got to meet Sarah Levinger, who I produced her show for a year and a half. In person, finally. Amazing. We talked generational stuff about AI. It was fascinating. I don't know. I was like, just, me in there. I'm buzzing. Yeah. I'm buzzing.
There's no better person to go to a conference with than Scott Ashman.
My other story was I met Pavan Pant here, and he talked me into going in and out at about 11:30 at night. That was my biggest win.
That was a choice.
It was. I regretted it early in the morning the next day. And then I was like, you know what? That was fire.
My company, when we had our offsite in LA, they had an In-N-Out food truck come. And it was like, I don't know, like an 18-wheeler. It was huge. And they were just pumping out burgers and fries. And I was like, I don't eat meat. And I am gluten-free, so I'll have
you're so fun to hang out with.
I'm lovely.
You're just so fun.
Thank God I'm not allergic to alcohol. Could you imagine how boring it'd be?
Can't wait to hit the fast food lines with you.
Hey, but the bar lines I am very fun at.
You are fun at a bar. I can.
Speaking of really quick, one quick
Okay.
story. So when you get like a tween, you have to check like their text messages. What?
Oh, you mean your son? You mean
yes. So I read his text messages and I see the like when we got back from vacation, I'm going through them. I'm like, what is he doing? He sends this note to a friend at 10:30 at night. It's like, we're at the club. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're at the club? And this girl responds and she goes, what? No way. You're not at a club. He's like, well, there's drinking and there's dancing and it's 10 o'clock at night and I am out at a bar at a club. And I was like,
are you shitting me right now?
And I'm going, what is he talking about?
I'm putting it right here. He's clubbing at the club. I hope you won't see that on YouTube.
We're like that meme of John Hamm.
Yeah, that was bad.
Anyway, I'm like reflecting, like, what is he talking about? I'm like, oh dear God. I actually did take my son to a club and didn't really realize it was a club because I took him to this little town outside of Austin, Texas, where they shot Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it looks like they haven't taken the set down either.
It's great.
And it's a line dancing club. And it was singles night. And I would say
I think you sent me a picture of this.
I did. And I think the average age was like 62, 67. And there was line dancing. And I looked at it. And like, when I was there, I didn't think much of it. And then I reflect back through his eyes and I was like, holy cow. I took my son to
Holy
a club.
mackerel.
And I'm like, I hope this child's that he's texting, I hope her parents don't read her text messages because they are going to judge me.
Oh, yeah. That's not going to go well for you.
But it was so fun because I line danced with my son. We did some country dancing. And there was like, it was a legit like line dancing, country dancing club where you had to, there was a sheet of paper and you're like, if you're a bad dancer, you have to go in the middle. If like, you don't know what you're doing, you got to stay out of the way. If you know what you're doing, you stay on the outside and it all goes in one formation. Like you all dance in the same.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I'd never been.
You dance in the same line?
Kind of.
Line dancing?
No, it wasn't all line dancing. Like part of it was line dancing, which I did like the Cupid shuffle. Like I got that good.
God, this is great. I tell you, you're off for a few weeks and story time summer comes up.
Dear God, I took my 12-year-old. To be fair, the whole hockey team went. So there was like 16, 12-year-olds there.
You know what? There's innocence in numbers.
I know. And if anyone stole a drink, I have no idea. But it was good times for all.
You're going to hear that. Mom, remember when you took me clubbing?
I know. You remember the club?
It was a great one. I had my first martini down there, Mom. I was only...
he's going to come back and he's going to be like, when he's 21, he's like, Mom, none of these clubs are as fun as the one you took me to.
Exactly. Do you want to go line dancing? Okay. We got to get going. We are so late. That was the largest open ever. Let's get the music started. Let's get going. Oh, yeah. Let it simmer in. Summer goes away. Let's bring our guest up on the YouTube stage. We are available on YouTube. Just search Always Off Brand. Ladies and gentlemen, an absolute retail dynamo, massive, unbelievable experience. Worked for one of the largest retailers in the world, VP e-commerce of Barnes & Noble. Ever heard of it? I love Barnes & Noble still. But now, crushing on the scene, she went out on her own. She is driving decisions for Decision Forward Advisory. Ladies and gentlemen, bringing to the program, Sara Rosoff.
Hey, what an intro. Thank you. I'm honored.
Welcome. Sorry for the long intro.
All good. I had a lab before. It is a lot of maintenance.
Are we talking hair? Are we back to hair?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Engineer Scotty had to go away there for a second and do some things.
That's okay, Scott. It's okay.
You guys want to talk hair for another 10 minutes?
No, you're just, you know what, Scott, though? I will say you have a great head of hair.
For my age, I appreciate that. I just got my hair cut the other day. And every time I go, I'm like, this is awesome. I'm here again. I'm 56 and I've got another haircut. I'm living large. I feel pretty good about it.
Living the dream.
Although it's thinning, you and I have talked about this. My wife wants me to go on the all the thinning stuff.
So I talked to Sarah about this earlier. My hair's falling out. So I just bought this thing.
A hat?
Wait. Come on.
Come on. What has got in there?
I got a red light hat.
Wow.
Love that.
And you wear it for 10 minutes a day for the next 16 weeks. And then you just do maintenance and you wear it like 3 to 4 times a day for 10 minutes.
Wow.
3 to 4 days a week for 10 minutes. Anyways, I'm throwing everything at this head to see what I can get to grow.
You really are.
I am.
Sorry, I don't want to say any cuss words. We're a children's program now.
No.
Well, Sarah's daughter has to tune in. She has to tune in. She's going to be like, Mom, when I'm 12, can you take me to a club?
So, Sarah.
Yeah.
It's nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on. A big shout out, Ravina. Fantastic job putting this together.
Thanks, Ravina. She's been great.
So, Sarah, tell us about this Decision Forward Advisory business.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, I mean, it was a really long journey, I think, to get here, over 25 years in retail across basically the entire ecosystem. I mean, when I was in high school, I was working sales floor at Lord & Taylor.
Damn.
Anyway, so I started as a merchant and I was always really curious about the entire way the business operates. I didn't go to school for this. I learned everything on the job. And throughout my journey, I just was always very inquisitive and always was able to kind of cut through the noise, if you will, and help make decisions, even if they were outside my lane. And there were often times I would step outside my lane and sometimes it was received well and sometimes it wasn't, That's the way of the world. But anyway, eventually I grew to, overseeing all of digital for Barnes & Noble, which was a pretty big undertaking. And again, I was constantly helping make decisions. And I think that's what got me to where I am today. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I decided to go out on my own and help other companies make decisions because it seems like it's a real gap in the market. And I don't think a lot of people realize they're in.
What you said is so profound. And you would think at this juncture, but it's so spot on. It is so true. Decisions seem to be a gap in the market.
Yeah.
I mean, unfreaking believable. Sorry. What's your old daughter's name who listens to the show now?
Eva,
that was for you, man. That was.
Oh, thanks.
But here's for you. Decision, Summer.
No one seems to want to make them. That's for sure.
I was joking with my husband the other day that I want to write a book of cliches because I feel like that's how I live my career. Like, make the decision, dare to fail,
Go out on a limb.
I have a whole list of them that I like to say.
So talk about this structure that you put out on LinkedIn, on the Linky, as I like to call it, this structure that you've put together as far as how talk more about that, where you see the gap, why the decisions in the gap on e-commerce. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's really 3 main points to this, and I call them all digital transformation. There's the merchandising journey, right? What is the best experience for our customer? How do we provide a frictionless experience to get them to convert? No noise, keep moving them down the funnel. Oh. Then there's also the profitability.
Summer,
right?
do you need a moment? Sorry, Sarah. Do you need a moment?
It's just exhausting. Moving them down the funnel.
Oh, the dang funnel.
It's so exhausting. And I can't believe in 2026, we're still having to explain why it's important, why you need to do it. It's
hard. And you know what? I think everyone, that's a very broad statement. So many try to overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
To do something new and innovative, but sometimes keeping it simple is the most straightforward. And that's what the customer wants. So I think it's always important to have your customer first. But anyway, so the merchandising customer journey, overall digital experience is one area. And then there's P&L management and transformation. And I mean, we've seen such a race to the bottom with retailers constantly marking down and thinking that's the only way to drive sales. It's just diluting brands. And so really helping you dig out. I put a post about this yesterday, actually. Yeah. It's going to be taped, but when I started out, really kind of overstepping my merchant lane, I was a merchant for an outlet business. I'm listening to everyone talk in the room, and outlets are losing money. And this was back in 2011. And, it was like the big outlet boom a few years after the recession happened. And I was just like, I don't understand how what's supposed to be a moneymaker, not only a liquidation, but like a moneymaker, could be losing so much money. So re-looked at the assortments, redid the pricing strategy. Instead of putting everything in at 50% off because it's an outlet, we put things in it sometimes 10% off because it was still really good product. And, came up with a marketing plan. It was the first one they ever had for their outlet business and really turned that business around in just a few months. And that's just one of the, times that I was able to really dive in and help with that transformation to profitability. I did it a couple of times at Barnes & Noble with some brands that we brought too. And then the third piece is
you're talking about GH Bass, right?
No, Diesel. Yes, GH Bass. I launched their first website, which was really exciting. That's how I got into e-com.
That's cool.
That's like great. Again, footwear brand, right?
I wore so much of their stuff in like the 2010s.
And again, we don't really talk about people's histories, but your history is so badass. Then you were senior manager of lifestyle merchandising at Spanx. How you doing? Like, what a rocket ship that was.
Yeah, that was product development. We were launching the first lifestyle apparel brand for Spanx, leggings, jeans, that type of thing. It was really exciting. I was selling in, I was doing everything. I was merchant, I was selling into wholesale. But again, just constantly always wanting like that hunger to learn more and understand the whole business. And then I got back to e-com at Barnes & Noble for 10 years, almost 10 years, went by in a blink.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have this whole system. I love the P&L. That's my jam. I love the P&L situation. Profits undefeated.
This is the most important one, I think, because this is where I really step out of my lane and what I'm most excited about. And I've made some huge partners and great partners throughout this process. But we went through multiple digital transformations at Barnes & Noble. So we went through an email migration, RFP process, et cetera. Then we migrated multiple sites to Shopify. And where I really had this aha moment was being able to break down the language barriers between technical and the business. So now as VP of e-com, I was no longer necessarily owning the business requirements. It was my team, right? Working really closely in tandem with our SI and with tech. And we just kept getting in our own way. Couldn't make the decision to move forward and just really kept trying to be that decision maker. And so after I left, I was thinking about like what my niche in the market is. And I think it's really breaking down those translation barriers when it comes to tech migration. So that's my third pillar and one of the ones I'm most excited about. And I think there's like the most opportunity for.
Yeah. Can you get paralyzed by tech stacks?
Oh, yeah. Can you?
I mean, but Sarah, did you notice the look on Summer's face when you talked about P&L and, the race to the bottom and profit? Did you notice her demeanor changed?
I did. I'm just like, these are all our problems.
It's true.
So let's dive into some of the pillars. So which one do you want to start with?
Wherever you want to start, I'm happy to dive.
All right. Well, what I think, as a consumer, I love the race to the bottom because I'm winning.
Of course. Right? I do too.
Yeah,
as a consumer.
This is lovely.
Never buy anything full price, right?
Yeah.
Always
I mean, it's just everyone's turned into the Gap. In high school, I worked for the Gap and I learned very quickly. It all goes on sale within 2 weeks, like new products. And then after 2 or 3 weeks, then it goes on sale. So never buy full price. So how do you think as a brand, if you're trying to control your pricing, but you've got the Walmarts and Amazons of the world lowering it because they own the product, how do you create any control, or do you just let it go, which is what it feels like most brands are doing?
You can't let it go. I think it's all about your relationship with the customer. Give them a reason to want to come to you, build that emotional connection. I actually think the Gap is doing a great job right now of digging themselves out of the constant markdown. I mean, yeah, they're still markdown heavy. When you go to their site now, there's so many more exclusions, which also isn't like the best customer experience because customers could be confused. But it's really just about building that connection with the brand and giving them, with the customer, and giving them a reason to want to shop with you versus an Amazon or a Shein or Walmart.
So you're saying give the customer a reason to go to your .com versus going to a retailer.com.
Right, because value isn't only dollars. Right?
Whoa, Sara Rosoff, what are you talking about?
I mean, it's not
that.
Well, it's a value proposition with your customer, right? So it's not just the money that they're saving, it's the experience that they're getting. Is it seamless? Is it easy? Are they loyal to your brand? Do you have a strong loyalty program? I mean, I think loyalty programs have come such a long way in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's really about, think about an item that's sold in department stores and Amazon, and then there's, the private vertical. What gives me a reason to buy from the private vertical versus, a Bloomingdale's or a Macy's? And so again, it's really just that loyalty, and it could be in the form of a loyalty program. It could be how you're talking to the customer. It could be the additional value that they get that's not monetary from having a relationship with you.
I mean, that's the game. But it's so hard to do because we have so many choices, and we have so many, there's the game mechanics of it, right? Gaming, make it a game, make it the points, make it all that stuff. And then there's the convenience side. How much do you think the convenience side is a major factor of loyalty?
I mean, it definitely plays a part, right? People want it now and they want it fast, and there's so many ways to get it, that immediate gratification. But I think it's the clutter. Like, give them a clean space and they'll convert. One thing that one of my pet peeves is going to a site and there's a million pop-ups. Like, I don't want your 10%. I just want to shop.
Yeah.
I don't want every page I go to try to sell me on signing up for your email.
That drives me crazy. Especially the mobile experience, because it takes up your whole screen, and like the little X is
you can't find it.
It's in a little soft white in the corner on a really light blue background. And you're like, how do I click? Like, how do I shop on your site? Because now there's just this, give me your email. I'm like, I don't want to.
Right. Now I'm giving away all my secrets, but
now as we had the Sparksworks, the Domers on, what if you went to the site and there was a little question box? What if all you not hey, email, hey, 10%?
Whoa, for our listeners, explain Domers really quick.
Domers is basically making every site look like an LLM, looking like Chit Chatty or looking like Gemini or Claude. Mm-hmm. Claudette now is coming.
They don't make the site look like that, but they have
on your D2C site, on your retail site, brand site, you go to it and there's a little question box, just like when you go to any type of large language model, LLMs, all these stuff, all the AI stuff.
Right.
Again, that's opting in. So if you start a conversation, hey, do you have, this and this size or whatever, then you start a conversation, and all of a sudden that retailer, that brand that's your first party data.
Right.
You've opted in.
Yep. I mean, again, like, it's just about the clutter. If it's seamless and it's not in the way, put it in the footer. Like, don't get it in the way of my PLP, when I'm shopping, or my, I hate when things cover the price. Like, seriously, move out of the way.
Yeah. Well, I think these pop up, and maybe they are getting better. I haven't managed a D2C site in a while, but like, don't give me a pop up to save 15% until I'm further down the funnel. Like, I've gone to a page, I've hit add to cart, I'm still kind of shopping around, then offer it to me like, hey, want to save 15%? And it's got to be worth it. Because like, if it's like an item that if I'm spending less than $50, I'm like, 15% is not worth getting my email cluttered. So to your point, Sarah, like, what makes them, how do you find the customer who wants to be loyal to you?
I think it's a variety of ways, but I don't think you need to always use pop-ups. I mean, there's drawers too, and they have their challenges with clutter as well, but there's other ways to message on the site. Right? Like, I don't think people leverage, or brands leverage, their global navigation as much as they can. Why do I need to have a welcome pop-up when I can just put up at the top of my page, every page you go to, it's there, it's not in your way, and it just says welcome, sign up.
Glad you're here.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
So I think there's a lot of other ways that are somewhat innovative, but, not necessarily. It's just sometimes taking that fresh look, that fresh perspective. I think that's the other thing too. Businesses get so caught up in, they get in their own way. They get caught up in their, current experience and what's going on. And then they see something great out there that might work for another brand, but is it right for your brand? And like, how do you make those decisions? How do you know what's really going to drive your customer? And it's really understanding that behavior.
I love this. We're going to take a quick break because I want to get into the edge, your edge, the E.D.G.E situation. You've got a great little, that's a little juicy nuggets right there. Also, it's hard for me not to talk because somebody in retail, the merchandiser, right? The problem I have with e-com overall is we've lost the art of being great merchants.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. 100%. I think, for me, and again, I'm biased because I grew up as a merchant, right, in this business,
Yes.
but like, it's how you're putting product in front of the customer. And I think so many brands forget about that, and pages are cluttered, and we're not giving them an easy way to shop. Navigation isn't clear. And again, I just keep going back to it. I think, like, again, my cheesy taglines, KISS, keep it simple. Like,
I love all your
make it easy for the customer.
Great. I blame Amazon. A large part of that I blame Amazon, and then I'll always blame Zappos for those playing along. I know it's 100 years ago. They're the ones who first made it easy to buy something and return something.
Yep.
They deserve a lot of credit.
Let's not even talk about returns.
I know. Let's not talk about returns. Oh my God. Okay, we're gonna take a very quick break. We'll be back. E.D.G.E, people. Let's figure out what the heck she's talking about.
Hi, this is Tom Lemongello from the Middlemen Podcast, and you're listening to the Always Off-Brand Show.
And we are back after our quick break. We've got Sara Rosoff. Sara, you have this concept that you have, the acronym is E.D.G.E, E-D.G.E. Can you tell us a little bit about it, what it is, how you came up with it? Let's hear more.
Yeah. So, I came up with the idea for Decision Forward Advisory when I realized that there was, as I said before, gap in the market and actually making decisions and getting that forward momentum. And I was trying to figure out what my process has been, because it's been really consistent. And there's certain things that I've, brought with me to every place that I've worked. And so I'm sitting breastfeeding my daughter one day, and I'm thinking about my evaluate, decide, game plan, execute. And I'm going over it in my head, and I'm like, yeah, that's my process. And then I'm like, wait a second. E.D.G.E is like an acronym there.
Yeah.
And so I came up with the E.D.G.E framework while, nursing my daughter.
As all good ideas come, where all good ideas come from, 100%.
Yeah, but just to dive into that a little more, I think first and foremost, we get into this decision paralysis, right? Like, we talk about decision fatigue with the customer, and we don't want to overwhelm them, but we do it all the time, in organizations and companies. And so really just try to hone in and evaluate what's going on, whether it's the data, the conversation, the pitch, whatever it might be. And decide, make a quick decision on like what needs to be done. And obviously speed is important. You don't want to move too fast, but it's finding that balance. But once you decide, there's still a ways to go, right? And I think that's where sometimes you get caught up in, like, a year after the decision or the idea first comes to fruition, you're finally executing, and now it's like outdated and your priority list has grown so long. And so one thing that I always do, and, my team members all the way back, to 2006 when I was at New York and Company will laugh, because everywhere I've gone, I've brought the game plan with me.
I love the game plan.
The game plan, right? And it goes back to like my sports roots and whatever. We'll talk about that, I guess, in a few.
Playbook, game plan. I'm all in there.
Yeah, it's a game plan. So essentially, back when I was at New York and Company, we had this document. I didn't make it up, and it was called the game plan. And it was essentially what we were going to do each week for the next few months. And we'd iterate off of it, but it was where our decisions stayed safe. And so it was a safe place to have. It's a living, breathing document. And then it was a really clear plan to execute, right? And so that's what I do. I listen and evaluate, make the decision, help you make the decision. It's not me in a silo, obviously. I'm a huge collaborator, partner. And then after we make that decision, we game plan it out. We literally map it out on paper. And it doesn't need to be a beautiful strategy doc. It could be like an Excel with columns, like, doesn't matter. And then you take that, and that's how you execute. And that's how you get it done with speed. And you don't miss a beat, because you know what? If something needs to change or pivot, you just go back to that game plan, you update it. Yeah. But it's all documented.
Okay. Well, we got to unpack this a little bit for me. Let's go back to where our decisions are safe. I love that.
Yeah.
So now that you're, you can, whatever, you can speak however you want to speak about it, but you had to go to battle, because the problem is you made the game plan, you evaluated, you had a great process, trust the process, the Nick Saban thing for Alabama football fans. But then you have CFOs, you have other people that want to change your decision based upon a quarterly number, based upon whatever it is. Did you have to defend the decision? Because what happens in my life is always there's no discipline to decision to stick with the decision. Nobody likes discipline.
No. And there were some very challenging conversations, whether it was, with finance or the board or whoever it might be, even convincing, your CEO. And sometimes things don't, go as planned, and we can't, there's no perfect unicorn out there. There's no way to do everything exactly as
you did. Knockdown dragouts, though. I mean, did you get any real like tit for tats? I mean, this
Scott wants the gossip.
I want the tea.
Yes. People think some decisions are crazy and they're never going to work. But that's like where I go back to what I said earlier. You have to dare to fail. If you don't try, you'll never know. And this is like another cheesy one, but you can't win if you don't try.
Hey! I love cheesy.
Well, and I hate that I'm quoting this because he's not my favorite person, but Jeff Bezos said,
"Oh, he's a." Oh, sorry.
Hey,
Eva.
Sorry, Eva. Don't listen to that. Scott, you're going to bleep it out. So there's two-way doors, right? Oh. And if you're going down this decision, is it a two-way door? As in, if it doesn't work out, can you go back to where the opening was and choose a different door? And I think a lot of decisions are two-way doors. Some are not. Some they're a one-way, and once you make that decision, like you have to stick with it. You don't have a choice. But most are two ways. So that's why I don't understand the decision freeze that people have. And they're like, can't make a decision. I'm like, but this isn't permanent. Like, if this doesn't work, we'll go the other way. But at the end of the day, you also need to have senior leadership who will allow you to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't allow your team to make a mistake, they're not going to want to be decision makers. And they're going to be so scared that they'll lose their job. They're going to make poor decisions. And I really comes down to how are your teams being led? And do you allow for mistakes to be made based on what the team knows today?
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. Like, I couldn't agree with you more. It's so important as a leader to let your team try things and make decisions and do. But you know what? These large corporations sometimes, and it's not just one, it's, many, they quote unquote get in the way. There's so much risk sometimes with a decision, especially when it's innovative, that it takes so long to convince that even if you end up going with it, by the time you go live, it's like not cool anymore.
Let it out, Summer. Let it out.
You know who's the worst? As we're all marketers here, you know who's the worst? Finance. Finance ruins marketing because they are so focused on, is this particular thing making $1 versus is it overall lifting the whole company?
Right.
And they are responsible for this terrible marketing we're seeing out there. And they're responsible. Yeah, I'm mad, Scott, because this is happening. I don't know if I liked that one.
Well, it's kind of you're making me sad right now.
I'm not trying to make you sad. I'm trying to get the finance people who are listening, because I know we've got plenty.
We do.
To allow marketers to make choices that will lift up the whole company or their brand, whatever they're focusing on, versus focusing on a ROAS.
Well, so Sarah, in your experience, not only, again, I'm going to make a couple leaps here. So you're innovating, you have a game plan, you're evaluating your edge thing, and then you're also in e-com, and you were working we got Barnes & Noble and these other brands, they have huge physical distribution, they're retailers. And so then you're like on the e-com, and I don't know, I mean, we still have so many organizations where e-com is off on its own island.
Black sheep.
I like it. I like my island. Stay off of it. It's doing really well. I'm not inviting others.
Your Love Island is just you.
It's just me.
So Sarah, am I talking your language? Did you have to deal with that?
Of course. I mean, e-com is still, for most companies, a small percentage, and the store footprint is the bread and butter, right?
Yeah.
But e-com's your largest store. And I think for me, I've always tried to, again, whether I was like head of e-com or just a merchant within an e-com world, try to equate e-com to a number of stores, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, e-com might be like 15 or 20% or sometimes even lower percentage, but it could be 60 stores, compared to the whole pie or, however many. And so it often is treated like a black sheep, but I think it's such a misconception.
You talked earlier about a P&L. How many people manage like on a sales team? How many people work a single account? You know how many people work on an e-com? Like maybe 2. And you're thinking, I'm like, you sometimes have 6, 7 people working on one account.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa. You want to talk about my P&L? Like, can we look at like the head count here? And it's needed. I'm not saying that shouldn't be the case, but I don't understand how it gets such a bad rap. Why do you think that is?
I mean, some e-com teams are pretty large. Like when you look at enterprise businesses, I had 90 people on my team at one point,
wow.
A little over 90 when we looked at all the teams, again, multiple businesses, multiple P&Ls. But, I don't think that businesses are looking at the P&L for the size of the team of, obviously payroll is part of it. It's more that, this is how much e-com is bringing in. And if it's not profitable, forget it, because not only are you a small percentage of the company compared to all the stores, but now you're not even bringing in money, and we're, sometimes losing money in e-com because of shipping costs. So I was talking earlier about P&L transformation. I really only touched on, product and pricing and promotions, but looking at your fulfillment and the percentage of sales on freight, your cost of goods, like there's so many, your vendors, right? What is your vendor matrix? There's so many other factors to it. And so you really have to look at the whole picture.
Freight was already expensive, Sarah, but now where it's freight-ageddon, man. I mean, the freight costs are going to go, they're already going through this is a huge issue for our clients, and this is major because it starts creeping up, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm losing my, you know what I mean? I ship something and it's over for me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think what you have to think about is, how are you fulfilling orders, right? Do you only have one fulfillment center and you're shipping all over the country? Are there, can you use stores as hubs? Like, what are the other vehicles that you have to get your shipping costs down? Yeah, because freight expense now is out of control. But if you're closer to the customer, that cost comes down, and there's so many different carriers out there. And it's really a tough game, but there's ways to, optimize. It's really tricky right now with where the market is and how costs are just constantly increasing.
Do you have to sometimes be a history teacher when you're in the execute part of the whole thing, and then somebody comes in? You've talked about finance. Some are told, I think CFOs run the world. Part of it they should, part of it they shouldn't. You know what I mean? But do you have to become I find myself. Do you have to become a history teacher a lot of times when they want to pivot or make a change? And you're just like, hold on. It's about the discipline. Like, simmer down, y'all. Like, let's just remember when.
Yes and no, because history works against you at times. And so, sometimes I have, as a leader, we have to talk about what happened in the past 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 months ago, et cetera. But then there's also another cliche, which is why I told you, I think I should just write a book of cliches and how to use them. How to use them, I mean, like to grow professionally. Yeah. What's old is new, right? So you can come up with an idea 2 years ago and it's not the right time and you're told no. But 2 years later, you have this, the idea is still like, eating you up inside. Like you really want to go through it. And I think so many people are afraid to bring up something that they might have brought up a year or two, however long ago. But here's another one. Timing is everything, right?
I love this. This reminds me so much. My mother was the queen of cliches.
Oh, it's awful. But it's true. And you know what? Like some of the best advice I give is off of some of these cliches, because timing is everything is probably my best advice that I could give anyone in life, or not to, go off on a tangent or business. But it really is true, because you bring up something 2 years ago and it gets shot down, but you bring it up today and guess what? Yeah. It's the best idea ever. And it's how we're going to move the needle. So history can work for you or against you. It depends how you use it.
Agreed.
Big time. My mother had the greatest one. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. That was one of her favorite.
Molehill.
A molehill.
Molehill. Okay.
You got it? You want me to repeat it?
Well, it sounds in mole. You stuttered. That's all. You mumbled. I was
Don't
trying to
make
help
a
the listener.
mountain out of a molehill.
I'm gonna make a mountain out of this molehill.
The other one that she said all the time. Why would you buy the cow when you get the milk for free?
Is that why her and Aaron don't get along?
Well, she passed away 10, 15 years ago. But yes, this is part of it. No, she would always say this when people were dating.
Yeah.
And the guy wouldn't ask to marry her.
Yeah.
Why would you buy the milk when you get the milk buy the cow when you get the milk for free? So she had like 800 other ones that are drilled into my head. But anyway, we'll be back with something right after this. Oh, but actually, before we leave, Sarah, why don't you tell everybody where to follow you, where to find you, how they can hire you? You can make people a lot of money.
Thanks. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just search Sara Rosoff, or you could search for Decision Forward Advisory and get our company page.
Fantastic. It's ROSOFF.
That's correct.
All right. Sarah, SARA, huh?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. So find her on the Linky. She writes really thoughtful, insightful and actionable things. She's not just flowery, whatever. This woman gets stuff done. See, I'm almost there, Eva. I almost swear to you. Okay. We'll be back with something right after this.
Hi, I'm Joanna Wallace. I'm the founder of Creative RX Consulting, and welcome to Always Off Brand Podcast.
All right, Sara Rosoff, that was great because what I really think is so a juicy nugget there is the decisions. Good Lord, do we get paralyzed in this? I follow the data. Okay, great. Yes, you should obviously be informed by the data, but could someone, for the love of Pete, make a decision?
Well, and I think organizing your decision, like I'm making a decision because of what I know today, which is X, Y, and Z. The data is showing this, the economy is showing that. This is where our P&L is. So therefore, this is a decision that's being made. And like she was saying, like having a game plan, if any of those things change, how do you pivot?
You make halftime adjustments.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
I love it. And when you're doing these decisions, you're working with a team. And why does a team matter, Scott?
Because people matter.
That's right. It's all about the people. And you are listening to Always Brand. Please like, please subscribe, please tune in to YouTube. And guess what? Today's episode was clean. We'll have some more of those if you want your children listening. We could be a little bedtime story for your kids.
Oh yeah. All right.
All right.
Have a great one. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey there, this is Haley from Quickfire, and they want me to read this so you know what this podcast is part of and how to find out more if you want. Always Off Brand is a production of Quickfire LLC and a part of the Learn and Laugh series on the Quickfire Podcast Network. For more information, go to quickfirenow.com. Have a good one, and thanks for listening.